Hello there, it's Cassie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have encouraging card number 20. It's hard to believe we're there, but we are. So let's go ahead and get started with the card. So I have a piece of shimmery green cardstock that I just had in my stash. I've had it for years, lots of it actually. And I am going to use the My Favorite Things Stitched Triple Peekaboo window. I love this little window. I'm going to tack it down with some micropore tape. And then I'm going to end up running, and pardon my hat, obviously it was a bad hair day. I'm going to run that through my Big Shot machine, and then I'll peel that back. I love this because it gives a little stitched border around each of those openings. It's so cute. And then I'm going to move on to the stamping. So I'm going to stamp the pots, and this set is the Lawn Fawn Stuck on You set. It's tiny and it's cute, and I stamped those pots using some Pumpkin Tailored Expressions ink. And for each of the cactus, I'm going to use a different color. So I'm going to start with that big cactus, and I debated, but I ended up I'm going to use the pea pod ink. It's the mid-tone of those three greens. So I'm going to stamp that, and these inks kind of stamp blotchy to start, but it evens out over time once it dries. For my next cactus, I'm going to use the Sweet Basil by Tailored Expressions in the little ink cube. And then for the final cactus, I am going to use some Lime Zest. I thought these were all very pretty greens, and those ink cubes make it easy to ink those up. And then the last little bit was the tiny little flower that comes in the set, and I'm going to stamp that using the pink champagne ink. And I'll move on to my sentiment. The sentiment's cute. I'm stuck on you. Just, very fitting. I love puns. So I'm inking that up with some Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I'll just stamp that along the bottom of that panel. And then I'm going to grab the heart in the set. There's quite a few little images in this set, but I'll grab the heart from this set and I'll ink that up with the pink champagne ink as well and stamp that next to it. And then I'm going to trim off the sentiment, and then I will deal with that later. So this set, I also bought the matching dies for this set, and I'm just going to line all of those up using that micropore tape. And once I have all those set to go, I will run those through one of my cutting machines. So, side note, if you follow me on Facebook at all, you would know that my daughter had her big state tournament this weekend, and they ended up getting second in state. And she was picked up for the Texas All-State volleyball team. Very exciting. So back to the card. I'm now running each of those through my Sizzix Sidekick. This thing never leaves my desk. I use it all the time. If you watch any of my videos, it makes a cameo because I love it. It's small. It works really well for these small dies, which are most of my dies. So I love it. And I will run that through several times with that pot until I get them all cut out. And now I'll work on my card base. That is a 5.5 inch piece, 5.5 by 8.5 inches, and I scored that at 4 1/4 inches. So that's a top folding card. And I'm lining everything up. And then I'm going to trim down my sentiment here in a bit after I get some foam tape put on the back of each of my images. I've decided I want those to pop up a little bit. So I'll grab some of my Scotch foam tape and just start putting that all over the backs of those images. I haven't decided the placement quite yet, but I will. To adhere my green panel to my card base, I'm just using some Tombow adhesive, just one of my tape runners, and I will stick that down to that card base, and then I'll start lining up my cactus. I trim off a small piece of the bigger cactus, because it's just too big otherwise. Looks a little odd. So I trim it down, peel off the backing, and stick down my cactus. And then I start peeling off the backing on all of those. And I should have thought it through a little bit better, but after looking at it, once I put the other pot down, it just looks odd. So I peel up those other two cactus. Thankfully, they weren't totally adhered. And if it did rip any of the paper underneath, it was still covered by the image once I put it back down. I just wanted those lined up with the bottom of each of those openings. And so I will use my tacky glue to adhere the little flower to middle cactus. For my sentiment, I will trim down those ends just a little bit more, and then I'll give them a fishtail banner. And to do that, I trim into the center, and then I have those corners meet that center. You can see it. You can see what I'm doing right there. And then I'll use my Tombow adhesive, and I will adhere that to the front of the card. And for a final bit of embellishment, I will use some Nuvo Crystal Drops in the color Bubblegum Blush. And I'm just going to put 6 little drops, 3 in 2 corners, and that will end up finishing off this card. So you know the drill. If you like this card, go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And I always appreciate your comments and you guys watching these videos. And as always, thanks for stopping by.